All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about remarketing audiences. So, if you've reached this point, you've probably already viewed our help desk or looked into our pixels and managing pixels video. This is assuming we're going to talk about remarketing audiences, assuming you've already deployed your Foundy account pixel on your artist or venue or your website in general. Now, much of these data points can also come from actual Foundy pages. So for example, if I look here at this Foundy page, if somebody comes to this page and clicks listen on Apple Music, of course, that's going to take them to Apple. But what that's also going to do is start to populate your Apple Music fans. So this is not actually pulling any data in from any of these streaming platforms directly. It's just quantifying and tallying engagements that happen with Foundy pages that you've created within your account. Now, in addition to that, you'll see total fans, which is going to include engagement and touch points in terms of audiences that are being built across any of your Foundy resources. So that could be Foundy short links and smart links that are trackable links. It could be your pre-save pages or bio link pages that you've created as well. But what it could also do is actually include people that have been to an area of your website, for example. So I'm going to show you under actions. If I edit this existing page, you'll see here that we have for podcasts. So on my actual website, I have the Foundy pixel as well. And so the location URL, this is going to be the actual domain that actually the pixel lives on. So in the sense here, my actual podcast link would be my website, tailorwinchestercreates.com/podcast, for example. So all I'm doing here is doing the location URL contains. And so it's basically scanning any of my website properties where my Foundy pixel is placed and narrowing the audience that's being built here based on URLs that contain word podcast in them. So that's the only one place that lives is on my website. So in this case, you'll see that here we have an audience of say 26 people, for example. Now, if you go to start from scratch, you're going to create an audience. You would name your audience here. You can add some additional description details so that it might help you remember how you're creating this audience once you come back to this down the road. But there's several different ways you can slice and dice audience data. So the most common used is going to be location URL, which is building, as I just showed you the example, it's building a website audience based on specific URL traffic. Now you can also do destination URL, which might be if you're using a Foundy link, for example, to send traffic to, I don't know, Ticketmaster, for example. Then what our system would do would scan all of the links that you've created that are directing in traffic over to Ticketmaster's website, and it would build an audience off of people that have engaged with those various different Foundy links. So this is basically building an audience of people based on where you're sending their traffic to, for example. Now, refer URL would be, for example, you say you want to build an audience off of anybody that has visited your website from, say it's from Facebook or from TikTok, for example. So you would simply, in that scenario, click refer URL contains, and then you could put TikTok. Well, if I could type TikTok in here, you can add additional parameters to this. So you can see here, so you could also add another for our refer URL. And instead of equals here, let's say we're going to do TikTok and Instagram. So you could do something like that here. And so this is going to build an audience off of your social media traffic that has come from your social media pages, for example. So that would be a refer example. Another example here would be browser. So this one is a little bit different. Let's see, okay, so browser. Basically here, you're selecting what type of browser. This is not something that I would say is probably going to be used a whole lot, but it's and we give you a lot of tools here, even though sometimes they may not be something that you would want to use regularly. So some of these are similar. Operating system is going to be the type of device, whether it's like an Apple operating system versus Google or Microsoft, etc. Now, geo could be interesting here. You could basically build an audience off of specific areas and regions. So let's say it's in the United States and you want to build an audience off of all of your Foundy total fans, but only people in New York City. So the platform will allow you to select cities here, and then that's how you would narrow that down. Now, another selection would be segment, and this is actually using an existing audience segments that you've already created. So what you could do is essentially use this to combine various different audience segments. So let's say maybe you want to include the the social media audience that we just created. Plus, you also want to reach people that have been to your podcasting page in this example. So I could do podcast, and or let's say we also want to do a segment. Let's just say we're going to do Shopify collections pages. So this is going to narrow people and build an audience that's only including people that have visited any pages that include podcast, as well as my merchandise store in this example. So again, what you're seeing here is there's many ways you can slice and dice this audience data. In my example, I don't have enough real overall account data or audience. I haven't generated enough traffic through my account links or my website to really get to a scenario where you would want to narrow down. But the theory behind this is that if you have people that maybe come to your website, check out the merchandise page, but then don't make a purchase, you could create an audience of those people that you could then run a specific remarketing campaign over under our advertising options. There's a couple of ways you could do that here. You see this reach button on these 3 top audiences. Under the actions tab, also have this ability to click reach. And what that's going to do is very quickly pull you into an ad campaign setup, and it's targeting a remarketing campaign that is targeting your total fans audience. So again, our platform is really built to power your marketing strategy and kind of assist in ways to build up audience data and then make that actionable. In this sense, under remarketing audiences, you can slice and dice that data in many different ways, but then you can also create lookalike audiences off of that data. You can actually run direct campaigns to people that are in a certain stage of what we speak of in terms of funnels. So it's really powerful. If you want to maybe consult with us in a little further detail, we do offer some consultations in terms of helping you set up your strategy around your audience, capturing data, capturing strategies, as well as how to actionably reach those audiences as you start to build that audience data out. So if you have any questions, please let us know, and otherwise have a wonderful day.